Hello everyone, I'm Manuel and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Wine Tech. Today we have the latest smartphone from Vernee, the Vernee X. They announced it as a battery phone, but will it actually be a good one, or it will be just the battery being good? Well, let's find out together. Okay, so let's talk about specification first. The smartphone comes with the MediaTek Helio P23 and octa-core at 2 GHz, and it comes in two versions, one with 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, and the one I'm reviewing, which has 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, and it has dual SIM. It's expandable with an SD card up to 128 GB, but giving up the second SIM card slot. You can either have two SIMs or one SIM and one micro SD card, and the SD card can also be used as internal storage, and the phone supports OTG. Out of 128 GB of internal storage, there's left around 110, like shown in the picture. Aesthetically speaking, the phone looks nice despite being thicker than usual, around 1 cm thick. You can see the front design reminds the infamous Galaxy S8, whereas the back is different with its metal back, giving off a nice feeling, which is also fingerprint resistant. Also, due to its huge battery, which gives the thicker design, the phone is heavier than usual with its 210 grams. Personally, I thought it would be a lot heavier than this, and one could say it's actually light for being a battery phone. On the back, we have a dual camera, 13 megapixel and 5 megapixel Sony camera, the dual tone flashlight and the fingerprint scanner, which is incredibly accurate, but it appears to be a little bugged. Sometimes it wakes up the phone immediately, and others it takes more than 2 seconds. Just let me show you how it works. And now it was fast, but sometimes it just takes so long to wake up the phone. I just don't understand the reason. On the front we also have the top speaker, the proximity sensor, the dual camera setup and the front flashlight. And also right next to the flashlight there is the notification light. On the right side we have the volume buttons, up and down, and the power button. On the bottom we have the USB Type-C, the speaker and the microphone, which is hidden inside here. On the left side we have the SIM tray to hold 2 SIMs or 1 SIM and 1 micro SD card, whereas on the top we have nothing. And as I showed earlier, it lacks the audio jack, and you will need a USB Type-C adapter to use it. As additional security feature, this smartphone also has the Face ID unlock, but it can't work together with the fingerprint scanner. I just don't know why, but you can either have the fingerprint scanner or the Face ID, not both at the same times, and well, to me it's such a little bummer. The display is a 6 inches IPS Full HD Plus with an 18:9 ratio. The colors are nice and vibrant, also thanks to the mirror vision technology. The automatic brightness works nice, and it can easily be seen in direct sunlight. It comes with Android 7.1.1 with the Vernee OS, which actually improved a lot in this version by adding the Oreo-like extra features, as I'm going to show you. Let's just have a look at the Play Store. If I keep pressed on it, we have a quick link for My Apps. If we go to Settings, we have the quick link for battery, data and usage as Wi-Fi. This is a pretty nice addition from the Vernee OS. We also have the Flip to Silence feature, the usual MediaTek DuraSpeed, which will clear apps in the background that we do not allow to run, and therefore reducing the battery consumption, and the full screen option, which is new. You can select whether to run an app in full screen, which is the 18:9 ratio, or the standard 16:9 ratio, in order to avoid any possible compatibility issue. Let's just have a look. Go on Settings, we have full screen mode. We can choose if we want to run an app in full screen mode or just in 18:9 ratio. Talking about gaming, with 6 GB of RAM and the Mali G71 makes gaming wonderful with no lag or issue. And about connectivity, We have the dual band Wi-Fi, both 2.4 and 5 GHz. The GPS works great and it's very accurate and fast. It takes around 2 seconds to get the satellite fix. And the phone also has Bluetooth 4.0, which work perfectly with my car, earphones and laptop. The speaker on top is actually very good and much better than any other phone I've ever tried, with clear and louder than usual sounds. Also, the bottom speakers are very nice and loud as well. The phone has a huge 6000 mAh battery and the autonomy is great. With normal usage you will get by the end of the day with more than 70% left, and it won't be a problem making it through 3 whole days before having to charge it. The phone supports fast charging and it takes around 2 hours and a half to fully charge from 0 to 100. Just let me show you. Today I use the smartphone, I unplugged it in the morning and right now I have, let's see if the camera can focus, I have 70% left. And just let me show you a few screenshots I took earlier. The phone was on for 1 day and 15 hours and still had 46% of battery left. This is an incredible battery phone. And now let's talk about the camera. On the back we have a 16 megapixel sensor with a dual tone flashlight and a secondary megapixel one, while on the front here we have a 13 megapixel camera with a secondary 5 megapixel one. Pictures taken by this phone are actually better than I expected, with a decent amount of detail in direct sunlight and a realistic color saturation. At night, however, it suffers by making pictures grainy and a little blurred out. At the moment there is a bug in the camera app which sometimes make it appear out of focus on the screen, but if you actually take the picture, it turns out right focused. The front camera takes decent picture with good lighting, but it's actually not that bad with low lighting as well, whereas the front flashlight only works enough to light up close objects, but still a useful addition. As all Chinese smartphones in this price range, the secondary camera is simply useless, both in the front and in the back. The bokeh effect is artificially created by making a circle in the center and blurring out everything else. And here we have an example of video recording. Here's a sample of video recording. Today is foggy in Milan. In conclusion, for $250 you are getting a nice design and love the feeling in my hand despite being thicker than usual. We have an improved and personalized Vernee OS. We have 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. Most importantly, an outstanding autonomy due to being a battery phone, and a decent camera. On the other side, we have a software that's slower than expected and a little laggy, but just sometimes, not always, a slow fingerprint scanner, and I didn't like the fact that you can't use the fingerprint scanner together with the Face ID. By being a battery phone, it's a lot lighter than I was expecting, also thanks to a better weight distribution. And despite being the software a little laggy sometimes, this is one of the most reliable battery phones you can ever find. Moreover, for just $170, you can get the 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage version, and it's up to you whether to spend those $80 extra to get 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to see the future reviews. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and if you'd like to buy this smartphone, I will leave the direct link in the description box below. Well, see you soon in the next video. Ciao!